Hello, it's Randi Rhodes. Here's a clip from our show, and go to randyrhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.
Mary had a little man.
The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
It is what it is. They are dying. That's true.
No, I don't take responsibility at all.
I think it's under control. It is what it is.
I know nothing.
Yeah, we should add Yosemite into that little mash there. Oh my God, that is wow. This is just. I'm sorry. If you went to bed every night praying that Donald Trump humiliate himself in even more bizarre ways, then your prayers would be routinely answered. I mean, he never fails. He never ever fails to humiliate himself. All right, Alvarez in Arizona.
Yes, I happen to tune into your show and listening to you, and I gotta say that, I was a lifelong Democrat all my life. I never once voted for a Republican in my life.
Good.
But I've been paying attention for the last couple of years since I've been retired. And I gotta say that President Trump, to me, seems to be the only one who tells the truth most of the time nowadays. It's fools like you who babble and say nothing. You clown. You're a clown.
Uh-huh.
You are a clown, woman.
And you're a liar because you're not a Democrat. There is no way.
Yeah, because y'all fools.
You're a liar.
The Democrat then went stupid because of stupid people like you.
Uh-huh.
And you're just portraying lies which are going to destroy this country with the Antifa and Black Lives Matter foolishness.
There you go.
I don't see no Republicans out there burning down buildings.
Oh, you don't? I just brought up Timothy McVeigh, who bombed the federal building in Oklahoma City and killed 168 people. The man in Las Vegas who went out the window.
Now.
The man
We're
who
talking about right now.
Yeah, right now.
That was one person.
Stop yelling at me. Why? If you're so right and you have like all this truth on your side, why do you need to yell?
Huh? Okay, you're right about that.
Okay, so stop yelling at me. Stop it.
Okay.
All right.
You're right about that.
Okay, good. So then be quiet for a brief moment. Be quiet. Be quiet. Just be quiet. So the person that burned down the Wendy's in Minneapolis during the riots, those were two white girls, okay? They were not Black Lives Matters people. The man that killed the two police officers in California, he was a white supremacist, not Black Lives Matter, okay? The stormtroopers in Portland, they were egging on and tear gassing moms and veterans. So don't tell me that you don't see who's really doing the violence. The Heather Heyer, who was killed in Charlottesville, was killed by a white supremacist. The people who are invading, let's say, the Black Lives Matters protests are Boogaloo Boys and Proud Boys and white supremacists. So
they're not white
they
supremacists.
are white supremacists. I suggest
college.
I would suggest you read a newspaper and stop yelling at people you don't know. Okay? Because you're wrong. And I hate that you're wrong. I want you to be right. Carl in Florida.
Hi, Randy.
Hi.
I just found your show, and I really kind of enjoy it. You're like an emotional Tom Hartman on steroids.
Well, we're friends.
I mean that very positively.
No, we're friends. Tom and I are friends.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, he is.
I'm a retired behavioral psychologist, and every time I just get, just kind of worn out with how did we get the 3.5 years we've gotten your caller previous to me is the answer. I mean, we know where it comes from.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing I wanted to mention, though, I don't need to directly interview Trump or as I would with any normal patient to diagnose him. This man is a mixture, and it takes a lot of energy and a lot of fun to talk about all the insane, crazy, meaningless things he says.
Mm-hmm.
And we say it like he had a reason. But let me just offer one suggestion. When you mix a totally, absolutely sociopathic personality who only believes in one goal, and that's preservation and forward movement for self, with stunning ignorance. I mean, it's hard to believe a grown man, 73 years old, financially and so on, where he's at. I know he's nowhere near as wealthy as he claims. But anyway, how a person so stunningly ignorant could be there. But look at what he does, not what he says. It's fun to have fun with, why did he say this? It is what it is, and so on. 3 days ago, he fired the director of TVA, the largest public power company in the United States, probably the world. And he threatened to fire the board of directors, which, by the way, I think legally he can't do. But anyway, if they didn't change their decision on shutting down that old ancient coal company that, provided them coal from Kentucky. Look at what he does. Why do you think he did that? Remember the promise that he made that he would take an industry which is literally dying in front of us, and he was going to rebuild it and make it a wonderful industry. Dirty, filthy, black coal. But anyway, this old, inefficient, costly plant was closed, and a director paid for it, and so on. But you have to look at it, like the bombing in Beirut. He says it's a bomb. By the way, he didn't talk to some of our quote-unquote great generals. There is a one-star general that he knows who is in charge in the Army of the resale to the public for trash and garbage. Not one of our really great generals, and a friend of Trump. That's probably who he talked to.
Well, we don't know who he talked to, but he just made that up because it is not a bomb. Obviously, you can see with your own damn eyes there was a fire. And that's why so many people were filming at the time of the explosion of the warehouse, because it was a huge fire prior to. So
sure, and I'm sure you know the part.
So let me just tell you what his sister said, and you know his sister, his niece, rather, not his sister, but his niece. She's got a master's degree in psychology, and she also has a PhD in psychology. And she said that the reason why he says it is what it is and things like that is because failure in their family, including being ill, being sick, was considered a failure. So you couldn't.
Not allowed.
Right, it wasn't allowed. And so his crazy father would say things like, it is what it is, because they were lazy and they didn't want to do what needed to be done to fix a problem. So they would just write it off with, it is what it is. And she said that is a family saying. It's something that she's heard a million times in her family, and that she believes that her uncle is guilty of at least, and she said she didn't want this to sound hyperbolic, but that his negligence on this pandemic is negligent homicide, if not outright murder.
Well, I suspect that he will not be reelected, and I also, many people have been talking about what'll he do? He'll hang around. He'll say he can't go. Well, I've got news for him. If you look at the Constitution, at 12:00 on the 20th of January, the presidency's term of office ends. He will not be president. And guess who? If the electoral
January 20th.
January 20th. I'm sorry if I didn't say that. I meant that. And on that date, if the Electoral College, again in the Constitution, does not declare a winner, a current winner, his
term is over. I understand, but you know what? The time, I know. But the time in between November 3rd, Election Day, and December 14th, which is the day that the electors have to show up and cast their votes, right? Is going to be pure chaos in this country.
I agree.
And the amount of propaganda the amount of questioning the integrity of the ballots, the amount of litigation, the amount of chaos that this man is going to foist upon an America that is already, seen a 32% decrease in GDP in a time of a pandemic where over 1,000 people a day are dying, where we don't have the kind of testing we need. We don't have any of the contact tracing we need. We don't have any therapeutics. We don't have a vaccine. The time in between then and now is going to put such a stress on America. And when you have Alvarez from Arizona on the other side of it, who only wants to really yell and scream and be angry, it's dangerous. The country is going to be ripped apart by old men like Alvarez, by other old men, and white supremacists who aren't so old. You saw what happened in Portland. You saw the trial run for martial law. You saw what those guys from Border Patrol, no less, the tactical units that they have in Homeland Security can do. Go to RandiRhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.